All right, welcome to Roanoke. Here we are. We're starting the 12 o'clock knob climb. The car's pulled into a little dirt section, and we got the camera mount here, and we're going for it. This climb was the second one that I went for on this trip. I kind of did the more popular one. Like, you know, every city has their climb that's kind of close to town, and it's more accessible in a lot of attempts and stuff. That's called Mill Mountain. So that one we didn't do a full video on because it's kind of a closed park section. It was a little bit shorter, and I wanted one that was more scenic to show the Virginia Blue Ridge, which is this one. So this is 12 o'clock knob. This was in the Tour de Pont back in the day, which was at some point called the Tour de Trump. This was I think it averages like 6 or 7%, but it just kind of maybe half an hour out of town, closer to the town of Salem, which is kind of adjacent to Roanoke. But I picked this one. I kind of just asked the locals which one was the coolest and the most scenic. It's still like kind of well known, and that was, everyone said the same, was 12 o'clock now. There are a few, I mean, look how beautiful this road is. It's super narrow. I think there were 2 cars that we dealt with. We'll see exactly how many cars we were dealt on the way up. It's very few cars and all the room to pass, but they're the most angry in places like this, I've found. You get 2 cars per hour here, and 100% of them honk, whereas in LA you get 2,000 and you get 1 honk. But super twisty, beautiful road. Imagine this in the fall when the when the leaves are out. Excuse me, I got a bit of a cold. It's a good time to record voiceover for KOMs because I'm not riding today. Negative for COVID though, so don't worry about me. Negative for COVID twice, positive for coughing for the last week and a half. But the KOM was held by Ben Wright, who I think he's definitely like East Coast, Southeast. I'm not sure if he's like Virginia, North Carolina, but he's a good racer, but has done a very impressive amount of Strava KOMs, really all over the country, but I'd say mostly concentrated in this area. If you look at any of the kind of the big ones in these towns, Ben Wright is on there. His Strava handle is GR, which stands for Grim Reaper. But I did get him on this one. My sickle is in my saddlebag here. But it was he set the KOM just over 14 minutes. It was 14:02. This was the first effort. If you've been following my channel closely, God bless you. But you'll know, like last year with Everesting and some other stuff, I completely overtrained myself. I was super cooked. I'd take a little break, had to build back up. It was a excruciatingly slow process, and there was pretty much all last summer. Like, I was able to do a few good efforts. Like that's still kind of in me, but it was a struggle. And you know, I talked to my old team doctors about it, and they told me like to recover better, like you know, to put on 10 pounds. So I did that last summer and just kind of let my body do whatever it needed, and then, you know, lost that over the course of, you know, I did it smart. It was a few months to get back to. Anyway, this was really like the first time feeling good again in quite a while. I'm gonna say like close to a year of I did a slow build, did some speed work, and here's like, all right, I can do 4 to 20 watts for a good stretch of time now. So that was really nice. This trip was 1 out of 3. I went to Roanoke. Had a great time there, and then I went down and did shorter videos in Greenville and Chattanooga, so those are coming up next, in that order. But here's Roanoke. Roanoke's a really nice town. Did like kind of a cruisy ride the day before. There's a greenway, there's a bike path that goes all through town, and also is like a good exit to sneak out of town. Roanoke is investing a lot into the cycling community and outdoors, kind of sort of not at the level of Bentonville because there's no Walmart billionaires to do it, but the same idea. So they're putting it in, and the women's 2024 pro team is based there now. They're holding, I believe it's Elite Nationals this year. It's one of those. It's not Pro Nationals. I think it's Elite Nationals is going to be hosted in Roanoke. So a lot of cool stuff going from there, and as like a cycling destination. So you see this climb. I'm it's a pretty steady climb. The grade, I believe there's like one little dip where I get to coast for a second, but it barely counts. So as you can see, I'm kind of pacing this the classic. I'm trying to negative split it, where we'll do what I always say is the first third. If it's a steady effort, the first third should feel easy. See, now I'm getting arrow. So here's, I'm not gonna say it's 4%. It's a flatter section. When I go arrow here, I'm not really looking to go faster as much as to go the same speed but recover a little bit. So back off the watts and kind of save it. So I think I realized like I might have cooked it a little bit too much the first 5 minutes, or I was afraid I had, and I wasn't going to be able to push the last bit. And the thing is, like on a climb, there's no place to recover if you do go too hard. You're just going to fall apart. So you want to feel easy the first third. You want it to feel like you're holding back, and you are holding back. Then the middle, you're kind of pushing, and what I always go through my head is the word steady. And then the last third is when it starts to feel hard. When I do that, like for me personally, a lot of years of training with this, but it's when I think about that, that's when I have a steady power file. If it's perceived to be easy and then medium and then hard, it's actually a steady effort, because the effort doesn't catch up. You do a sprint, it doesn't hurt until a minute later. So the same thing applies with going forward on a climb. But steady 7% here, just a beautiful tight little road. I just love the narrow southern road. This felt like this is the Blue Ridge. This is the Appalachians. It feels just like Dahlonega to me, which is kind of where I got into, where I kind of fell into long rides and climbing, and that's North Georgia. I used to go up there from Athens, and this is the same ridge, just 8 or 9 or 10 hour drive north. But the weather was perfect on this day. It was like good long sleeve speed suit weather. I was hosted on this trip by Stratton Delaney, who's the founder of the Black Bibs. Starlight Apparel is my custom clothing sponsor, and then the Black Bibs is like their off the rack clothing, that's the $40 bib shorts. So I got to see their office for the first time, which was super cool. And the clothes are nice. That speed suit that you're seeing, like that's the custom one, but the Black Bibs does sell the exact same one. It's called the Perfect TT suit or time trial, something like that. You can find it on there. It's hard to get a speed suit if you're not on a team, because they don't really sell them off the rack that much, but Black Bibs does have one. And that thing outperformed Castelli in a wind tunnel recently. It's got the zipper on the back, which is a little bit, that's what makes it different. It's a little awkward to get used to, but they got the kind of vertical lines on the arms. There's all kinds of dorky arrow stuff. They did a really good job, and I don't think like it's funny because I don't think like Stratton and Starlight does not put in the research and the wind tunnel testing that Castelli does, but they do have good engineers, know what they're doing, and a lot of that stuff is kind of luck. You lock in your pattern, but it's faster, and I've always thought they're all super similar, and we're in the marginal gains category, but also it's probably third the price, and then last longer. A lot of the high end race stuff is meant to kind of be raced and then thrown away, as we would do in the pros. I'd have like what are those skid suits with 2 pockets in it, and you'd race it for a week, leave the numbers on, and throw it away. You wouldn't even take it home. Anyway, we're on the climb. So now we're in the second, kind of the middle portion of this bit. Still steady, still pushing, good cadence. You see my heart rate's creeping up, but I'm feeling good. I'm not scared to hit the watts and punch it, and still haven't hit that little downhill. I'm pretty sure there's a get to coast for a couple seconds somewhere up here. This was like I said, this was my second day in Roanoke. I had a miserable time getting out there. United Airlines really did a number on me between delaying flights, and then I missed, because one flight was delayed, I was going to miss the connection, and then so I was like, all right, I got to get to Roanoke today, so I changed my connection to DC. Of course, that flight, so instead of flying to Roanoke, I flew to DC, which is like a 3.5 hour drive, something like that. And then that flight was delayed, so I didn't get into DC till 2:30. Had to rent a car, and they lost my bags. With all that, my bags were sitting in Denver for a full 8 hours, and they managed to not get them onto the DC flight. So they showed up the next day. I picked them up at the airport. What's funny is I picked them up at the Roanoke airport. They flew into Roanoke, my bags. The bags got the flight I wanted the next day. But I went in there and I just got them off the baggage claim. And to this day, it's been a week now, I still get texts that they're looking for my bags. United doesn't know I got them. So I guess I have it in writing here, so I can't get my money on writing. But on record, I cannot get a... Part of me is tempted just like, all right, you owe me $2,000 for all my stuff and $10,000 for the bike. But that would, they deserve it, but that would be dishonest and literal insurance fraud. So we're not doing that. Thanks to me, thanks to United. Ultimately, I got my stuff, but I was pretty beat up from that whole trip. And honestly, that trip never came over. And that's where I blame my cold now, is this slow motion train wreck of me trying to do 3 videos in 6 days or 7 days. At least this one's good. The power was good. I was able to eventually catch up on sleep. And here we are. Look at that. So it was 2 cars. I just love a road. A road's nice when there's no yellow line or line down the middle at all. It's just when the car comes up, you just kind of look at each other and play a little game of, is that chicken? I don't know. You have to talk to and communicate, but it also just means there's just not going to be that many cars up there. There were a few houses at the top, and then over the top, I'm not sure. I think that goes back into town another way. That there is another contested KOM going back up, but there's not a lot of reason to be up there as a car. Which is how you know it's going to be nice for bike riding. And I wasn't shy about taking the other side of the road if the line was better. If I could save a few seconds. So here that bend up around the head. I did a recon lap for warming up, so I knew that bend around the left there is kind of the last bit. And I know I can't quite start going for it yet or empty the tank because it's a long drag, but I knew I was close. And I knew at this point, I think I was up like 15 seconds on the KOM, which is not a lot, given I had the dorky light bike and the speed suit and all that stuff. Respect to Ben Wright, he put in a good effort on this one, for sure. So now is when I'm not quite scared to say I'm going to get my speed back, because it's also kind of not as steep at the very top. So this is 13% in that switchback, and then I want to say it gets to like 3 or 4 towards the end, so it's safe to, if I blow up a little bit, I'm not going to lose a ton of time in the last little acceleration. There is that little gap up at the end is the top. There's a rock at the end that's the actual end of the KOM is a rock. I forget what I said. It's something about Jesus at the end, which is fun. Might as well be what you think about top of the climb. But here's emptying the tank, feeling good, have a little bit left, and I'm not scared to start kind of blasting. Cadence went down a little bit as we go. I tend to spin higher at the beginning and then use the legs more then, and the legs more at the end. That's it. That's it. That's 427 watts for 13 and a half, 14 minutes. Up next is Greenville. Thanks for watching. See ya.